There's a guy in Singapore. He's not a detective. He's not a spy. He doesn't work for a government or an intelligence agency. He sells food and beverages for a living. And every evening, after work, he goes up to the roof of his apartment building. And he watches ships. Not because it's his job, because something started bothering him. One ship in particular. It was broadcasting its location. Loudly. Constantly. Perfectly legal. Perfectly visible on any tracking website in the world. Except the location it was broadcasting didn't exist. And what he found when he started pulling that thread didn't just expose one ship, it exposed a language, a system, an entire hidden infrastructure operating in public, in plain sight, that most of the world scrolls past every single day without knowing what they're looking at. This is that story. His name is Remy Osman, 32 years old, British expat living in Singapore. He started noticing things from his rooftop that didn't add up. Ships sitting in the strait that weren't on any tracking system, ships that were on tracking systems, but whose listed position was somewhere completely different. Old rusting tankers moving through one of the world's busiest shipping lanes with no flag, no visible name, no logical reason to be there. He started photographing them, cross-referencing their shapes against satellite images, checking their AIS signals, the automatic identification system that every large vessel is legally required to broadcast. Name, position, destination, every few seconds. Constant. Here's what he kept finding. The signal said the ship was somewhere else. Not slightly off, not a GPS glitch. Thousands of miles off. One tanker's signal placed it peacefully drifting off the coast of Guyana. Satellite imagery, publicly available, free to access, showed it physically inside the Persian Gulf, loading Iranian crude that international sanctions say shouldn't exist. Same ship, two locations, simultaneously. The technique has a name, spoofing. The ship transmits a false GPS position, and every tracking screen in the world shows it somewhere it isn't. Turn the signal off entirely, and every Coast Guard in the world immediately knows you're hiding something. Keep it on, but lie through it, and you're invisible. And when investigators started catching that trick, the network adapted. Some ships began cloning the identities of legitimate vessels, stealing their registration codes, their flags, their names. Now there are two ships in the system, one real, one phantom. Authorities watching the phantom think they're watching something innocent. The real ship is somewhere else, doing something that would end careers if anyone found it. Remy Osman, food and beverage salesman, rooftop amateur, was finding this using tools anyone can access. And he wasn't alone. Around the same time Remy was photographing ships from his roof, a man named Samir Madani was doing something similar. He started tracking oil tankers as a hobby, not a side project, not a career pivot. A hobby. Something he did because the patterns interested him. Because a ship that stops moving for 6 hours in open water, no storm, no engine failure, no port for 100 miles, is almost certainly telling you something, and he wanted to know what. What Madani built from that curiosity, tankertrackers.com, is now cited by the Financial Times, Reuters, and Bloomberg. Governments and intelligence agencies use his data. He's quoted in sanctions investigations. His findings have been entered into legal proceedings. He started because something looked wrong. But here's where the story gets uncomfortable. Because everything Madani uses, the satellite imagery, the AIS data, the shipping registries, the financial records, is public. It's free. It's sitting there, accessible to anyone with a browser and enough patience to notice that a ship stopped moving at the wrong time in the wrong place. The dark fleet isn't hiding from technology. It's hiding from attention. And that distinction matters more than anything else in this story. Because if a food salesman on a rooftop and a hobbyist with a spreadsheet can crack this open, what does it mean that it's still running? What does it mean that 3.7 billion barrels of sanctioned oil moved through the dark fleet last year alone? It means the codes work. Not because they're sophisticated, because most people don't know what they're looking at. And here's what I couldn't shake when I went down this rabbit hole. It's not just ships. The same logic, hide in plain sight, broadcast in a language most people can't read, is running inside your phone right now. In 2018, Facebook and Instagram banned a list of words: fentanyl, opiates, Ketamine? Search for them. Nothing. Zero results. Platforms declared it solved. Traffickers switched languages overnight. To emojis, a snowflake next to a nose, cocaine, a plug symbol, the dealer, a cookie, Xanax, available now, a yellow school bus, the same thing, because the pills are pressed in that exact shape. Not random. A living dictionary, collectively agreed upon across thousands of accounts, evolving the moment any symbol gets too exposed. The DEA now has a dedicated unit that does nothing but track emoji code drift. One symbol burns. A replacement is agreed upon within days, across thousands of accounts, with no meeting, no memo, no central authority. Just like a ship changing its name and flag in international waters. Investigators found migrant smugglers running paid Facebook ads styled as travel agencies. Friend, are you thinking of going to the United States? Completely serious, reliable, safe. Public posts, paid promotion. The ad looked like a holiday package. The product was a human life. The Sinaloa cartel ran TikTok recruitment videos so openly they had their own hashtag. Luxury cars, stacked cash, gold-plated weapons, targeted at teenagers. Not encrypted, not hidden. Boosted by the algorithm to exactly the people most likely to respond. The encoding wasn't in the words. It was in the aesthetic. Wealth as a language, glamour as a call to action, and the platform's own recommendation engine doing the work for free. Same system as the ship. Same logic as the spoofed signal. Hide in the noise. Broadcast in a language most people haven't learned to read. Remy Osman didn't set out to expose a billion-dollar criminal network. He just noticed that something looked wrong. A ship that was in two places at once. A signal that was too clean. A vessel sitting too still, too long, in water with no reason to stop. And he pulled the thread. What's sitting in your feed right now isn't so different. An emoji combination that doesn't quite fit. A travel ad that almost makes sense but not quite. A comment section full of single-word replies on a post that has no obvious reason to exist. The Dark Fleet broadcast its position 86,400 times a day. Wrong coordinates. Real signal. Fully readable to anyone paying attention. The cartel recruitment campaign ran for months with an open hashtag. The smuggling ads were paid, promoted, targeted, sitting in the same feed where you watch your friends' holiday photos. Every one of those operations was completely visible. The codes work not because they're hidden. They work because most people haven't learned that when something looks slightly wrong, a ship stopped dead in open water, an emoji that doesn't belong, an ad for a service that doesn't quite add up. That wrongness is the signal. Remy Osman learned that from a rooftop in Singapore. You just learned it here. The question is what you do the next time something looks slightly off.